Princess Lariah of House Thale stood alone beneath the floating prisms, her small frame bathed in ceremonial light meant to celebrate worth, strength, and desirability. Around her, the vast hall of the Cathari Empire shimmered with alien nobles, warriors, and suitors, tall, radiant beings whose elongated forms and glowing crests marked them as ideal by Cathari standards. Lariah was none of those things. She was smaller, slighter. Her bioluminescent markings were dimmer than most, her crest shorter, her posture lacking the imposing presence that Cathari males admired. From the moment she had been born, whispers had followed her like shadows. Fragile, unfit,
Decorative at best.
Tonight was her final trial, the selection. By ancient custom, the royal daughters of Kether were presented before eligible nobles and champions. To be chosen meant alliance, protection, and purpose. To remain unchosen meant something far worse. Lariah stood perfectly still as one candidate after another passed her by. They did not sneer. They did not mock. They simply ignored her. Their eyes slid past her as though she were part of the architecture. Some paused briefly, curiosity flickering, before turning away toward taller, brighter princesses whose power filled the hall. Each rejection landed like a quiet fracture in Lariah's chest. By the time the final Cathari suitor turned away without a word, the verdict was clear. She had not been chosen. A soft murmur rippled through the hall, disappointment, not outrage. A failure acknowledged and dismissed. Lariah bowed her head, as protocol demanded, and stepped back into the shadows. She did not cry. Cathari royalty were not taught to cry. Beginning, a princess without a place. Lariah had always known this day would come. Her mother, Queen Vaesen, ruled the Cathari Empire with wisdom and iron resolve, but even she could not rewrite every tradition. Strength, presence, and radiance defined Cathari leadership. Lariah possessed intelligence and empathy, but those traits were not celebrated. They will see you, her mother had once said, long ago. They will see what matters, Lariah had replied quietly. Tonight proved otherwise. After the hall emptied, Lariah remained behind, staring at the prisms as they dimmed one by one. The ceremony was over. The Empire had spoken. Unchosen princesses were often reassigned, sent to distant academies, ceremonial roles, or quiet exile under the guise of honor. They became footnotes in royal history. Lariah felt the weight of that future settle around her. It was then that the chamber doors opened again. She did not turn at first, assuming a servant had returned. But the footsteps were wrong, heavier, uneven, accompanied by the soft hum of unfamiliar technology. You're supposed to leave through the west corridor, a voice said. It was accented, rougher than Cathari's speech. Human. Lariah turned slowly. The man standing near the entrance wore a dark uniform marked with Earth's insignia. His hair was dark, his posture relaxed but alert, and his eyes, curiously expressive, were fixed on her, not sliding away like the others. I'm aware, Lariah said. I was not in a hurry. The human hesitated.
Sorry.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
You didn't, she replied.
No one else seems eager to speak to me. That earned a faint, surprised smile. I'm Commander Elias Ward, he said, inclining his head slightly. Human liaison to the Cathari court. Princess Lariah, she replied. Unchosen, apparently. Elias winced. I saw the ceremony. If it helps, humans don't really do selection rituals like that. Then how do humans decide worth? Lariah asked. He thought for a moment. Usually by who shows up when things go wrong. Lariah studied him carefully. Humans were physically unimpressive by Cathari standards, shorter, denser, lacking natural bioluminescence or psionic presence. Yet something about him felt solid. And did I show up wrong? She asked. Elias met her gaze. I think you were the bravest person in that room. For the first time that night, Lariah felt something loosen inside her chest. Middle, the human who chose. Over the following cycles, Elias found reasons to cross Lariah's path. Officially, he was tasked with cultural exchange and military coordination. Unofficially, he lingered, asking questions, listening, noticing things others ignored. He noticed how Lariah understood logistics better than most generals. How she remembered the names of servants and guards. How she spent hours studying star charts and trade routes while other royals pursued spectacle. She's too soft, Cathari nobles whispered. Elias disagreed. She's precise, he told his superiors. When border tensions flared between the Cathari Empire and a rival coalition, it was Lariah who quietly identified a flaw in the enemy's supply chain, one no one else had noticed. Elias passed the information along. The resulting maneuver saved 3 systems from invasion. No public credit was given, but Elias remembered. So did Lariah. Their conversations grew longer.
Deeper.
She asked about Earth, about oceans, storms, families built by choice rather than bloodline. Elias told her about human resilience, about failure as a teacher rather than a verdict. One evening, as they watched twin stars set beyond the palace balconies, Lariah spoke the truth she had carried for years. I am afraid, she admitted, not of being weak, but of being unnecessary. Elias didn't answer right away. Finally, he said, on Earth, some of our strongest leaders were ignored before the world caught up. She looked at him. And if it never does? Then you build something new, he said, with the people who see you. The opportunity came sooner than either expected. A political crisis erupted when an outer Cathari sector declared secession, backed by mercenary fleets. The High Council froze, bound by tradition, unwilling to act without overwhelming force. Lariah proposed something radical, a negotiation, a dangerous one. They will see this as weakness, the council warned. They already do, Lariah replied. Let us change what weakness looks like. Elias volunteered to accompany her. The delegation was ambushed. Their escort scattered. Communications were jammed. Enemy forces surrounded their vessel. Cathari advisors panicked. Lariah did not. She coordinated defenses, rerouted power manually, and kept the ship alive long enough for Elias to execute a risky countermeasure that disabled the attacker's sensors. They escaped.
Barely.
When they returned, bloodied but victorious, the court buzzed with shock. For the first time, eyes turned toward Lariah not with pity, but with uncertainty. And uncertainty was the first crack in tradition. Ending. A fate rewritten. The queen summoned the court. Lariah stood once more beneath the prisms, but this time, Elias stood beside her. This is irregular. Nobles protested. So is survival. Queen Vaesen replied calmly. She turned to her daughter. You were ignored because you did not fit what we expected, the queen said. But expectations do not win wars. Choices do. The queen's gaze shifted to Elias. Human, she said. Why do you stand here? Elias did not hesitate. Because she deserves to be chosen, he said. And because I choose her. The hall erupted.
Gasps.
Outrage. Shock. A human had no right to claim a Cathari princess. The law was clear. The queen raised her hand. Then the law will evolve, she said. Silence fell like a blade. Princess Lariah of House Thale, the queen declared, is hereby recognized as heir strategist of the Cathari Empire. Her counsel will guide our future. She paused. And by ancient right of sovereign exception, her bond with Commander Elias Ward is sanctioned. Lariah's breath caught. Elias turned to her, eyes wide. Is that okay? She laughed, a bright, unrestrained sound that echoed through the hall.
Yes, she said.
More than okay. Across the empire, reactions were fierce. Traditionalists raged. Allies watched closely. Rivals reconsidered their assumptions. And somewhere among the stars, a quiet truth spread. The princess once ignored had become the axis upon which the future turned. Not because she was the strongest, but because a human saw her worth and stood beside her until the galaxy had no choice but to see it too. Lorian never forgot that moment in the cerulean hall when everyone had looked away, because that was the day she learned something humanity had always known. Being ignored does not mean being powerless. Sometimes, it only means the right person hasn't chosen you yet.